All right, guys. A word of caution before we go out there. This strong wind seems to have attracted raptors to our backyard. You know what a raptor is, right? T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Can you jump 3 times? Can you? Yes. 1 and 3. And go out there. Mind the raptors. Especially Steve. Although I think Steve might be bigger than T-Rex. What is a raptor? Raptors. Bonehead move. Can you hear me now? I left my wireless mic on the table. Now it's in my hand, so it sounds scruffy. Did you hear me talking about the raptors? So what I warned the kids about, the cast of Out the Door Weather and More, was that there are raptors out here, a bird of prey. And there was one right up there just now. Did you see it? You couldn't hear me, right? So this is what it looked like when we came out, and I couldn't focus on the thing. And then I said, oh, there's the moon. And then I said, I'm having some crazy dreams this week. Are you? I seem to have crazy dreams when the moon is full, especially the harvest moon. It's so close. And we've got the boat plying into the wind. We've got planes flying into the wind, although that one's with the tailwind right now. And it is called cold air advection. Whipping in. How cold at your house? Now, it's not this windy in most places. And I got to remember, I don't really have to yell over the wind because this microphone does such a good job. The temperatures to start the day were in the 20s, where we did have some places that decoupled. There were a few spots of radiational cooling that got cold without wind there, and especially in northern New York and northern New Hampshire. While here in southern New England, especially near the coast, we only got into the 40s and even 50s on Nantucket, where the wind is gusting past 30 miles an hour. And there's a ferry service disruption due to heavy wind on Nantucket Sound this morning. And also with the cold air coming across the relatively warm ocean, we have ocean effect clouds. That is sort of like lake effect, but over the ocean. No snowflakes coming out of them. And the summit of Mount Washington. Did it snow this morning? Ryan Knapp got the picture of the sunrise through the rime frost. That is, there was a super cooled cloud over the mountain last night that did cause frost on the rocks and the buildings and such, but no snowflakes are reported. So we're still waiting on the first snowflakes of the season on Mount Washington. Thank you, Ryan, and everybody. 2 Ryans. I have 2, Ryan Knapp and Ryan Haas, friends working up on top of Mount Washington, where the temperature got down to 14, or was down to 14, maybe still be falling. And the wind gusted to 85 miles an hour, and the wind chill factor 10 below 0. So we have a new weather regime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to real autumn in New England. 1 year ago, it started snowing on October 13th. And boy, has the guidance changed toward a much colder solution for next week. Oh, there's the Raptor right there, just hanging in the wind. That red-tailed hawk. And I think it loves that all the trees... Do you have something in your talons? I think it loves that all the trees were cut down here and has a much better view of the rabbits and skunks and, oh, excuse us, T-Rex, and other varmints that are down in there. Steve's been catching them too. So it's so fun. Maybe he'll catch something for us while we're watching. Much more on the Raptor. That's a red-tailed hawk later in the program. And the workers aren't here yet. Oh, there's one worker over there. So they may be moving these boulders around a little bit. Most of this concourse, though, I think is just about complete. And the weather forecast, here's the surface map analysis this morning. Look at the size of that high-pressure system. I mean, the isobars around this high stretch from off the map in northeastern Quebec to off the map there, well, just about off the map, into Texas. And we have yet another high-pressure system from Canada, which has pushed the front all the way to Florida. And when this high starts moving east, that front from Florida is going to energize, and we're going to have a major East Coast storm developing Saturday and arriving in New England on Sunday. And it's almost a certainty now on the backside of this high. I know it's complicated, and it's not going to be easy. And talk about complicated and not easy. Wait till you see the forecast for next Thursday. It's changed again. Let's review again. I want to show you this. 2 days ago, this was the forecast map for next Thursday. It was day 10. And it showed the 570 thickness with record warm and west winds. And then yesterday, it came out with, oh, no, never mind. It's going to be a 546 thickness, with air from the north and a storm in the Gulf of Maine. That would be day 9. Well, now next Thursday is day 8, and here is the map for next Thursday. It shows not just the 540, but the 534 decameter thickness, cold enough for snow down to 3,000 or 4,000 feet if it chooses to precipitate next Thursday. And it is looking like it may precipitate. A wintry mix is now in the 8-day forecast, or day 8. If this trend continues, next thing you know, it's going to be forecasting a nor'easter. But usually the way this works is it starts going the other way. You know, like windshield wipers. They call it the windshield wiper effect, when the guidance goes from really warm to really cold and ultimately it ends up somewhere in between. So I would say that's where we're going to end up, is somewhere in between. Now the meteogram for Nashua, New Hampshire shows the temperature today barely getting to 55. I think more importantly, the dew point is only in the 20s. So when this high comes right over us tonight and we get clear, calm, radiational cooling, that means the temperature is going to fall into the 20s in a lot of spots tonight where the atmosphere decouples, especially away from any water. And then the rain comes in on Sunday, and it goes on and off on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday the temperature tries to spike back into the 70s, and then the rain may come back with the wind and maybe a wintry mix next Thursday into Friday. That's all a moving target. When I said, unless you live next to water, I was almost going to try and stop that and show you my tomatoes. They're still looking okay, and I want them to hang on. But there is a frost advisory. Here's the national advisories, watches, and warnings. And you get the dark blue is a the dark blue is a freeze warning in effect now from the Great Lakes to southern New England for tonight. Now, if you see some white spots in there, that's because they've already had a freeze, and you don't put up freeze warnings after the first freeze. And there's a lighter blue right over my house, which is a frost advisory for me. So I don't think I'm going to get a frost because of my proximity to this water, which is still in the lower 60s. But just in case, those of you that have been watching a long time, I have this thing called the Ice Bucket Challenge, and I will keep the water from the rains of the last several days in there, and we'll do the Ice Bucket Challenge this winter. A lot of this rain, this is all the rain we've had since September. I think it's the last time I emptied that. And speaking of rain, how much rain did you get at your house yesterday? Once again, Cape Cod got more rain than much of the rest of southern New England. This is a shot over the bow for winter, I think. 1.76 in Truro for the wind. And even around the Bass River area, mid-Cape, it was more than a half inch, closer to an inch. And then you get up to the Boston area, we had pretty close to 3/4 of an inch in general, but then a real gap there near the New Hampshire-Massachusetts border with Winchendon and Athol, Massachusetts, and parts of southern New Hampshire getting less than a 1/4 inch, and only 0.1 there in Athol and Winchendon. And it has to do with the nature of the waves on the front. It wasn't just a single wave on a front. There were several waves, and there was a redevelopment process right over southern New Hampshire, and it jumped over. And here at my rain gauge, you can't really see it, can you? Is it worth the time on this? 0.66. It looks like 0.66 here on my gauge. And yeah, I was spending time in the tomatoes yesterday, and they're taking a beating. We'll talk more about that in the end more. Let's go to the Euro. No, wait, we got to look at the hurricane first. Jerry is out there. It's not a hurricane. It's forecast to become a hurricane, but it's on the slow boat to becoming a hurricane. It's been moving very fast through a sheared environment, and all the heaviest clouds are on the southeast side, and the wind is on the southeast side. It's this asymmetrical 65-mile-an-hour tropical cyclone that could become a hurricane, but it's going to be far enough off the northern Leeward Islands that the strong winds are going to stay out over the ocean. It's going to do the Jerry curl there east of Bermuda, not playing any role. Interesting that the National Hurricane Center has put a yellow hash north of the Azores for a low on the front that's been stretched out, the front we keep talking about from Europe to Florida. And there's still a lot of weather around Central America, tropical cyclones, but looks like that weather's going to stay west. We're going to have dual storms both in the west and the east. And so let's go to the Euro and play that out now. Here's our huge high-pressure system right over us tonight. The wind goes calm. We have the coldest morning so far, teens and 20s in a lot of spots, and hopefully just about 42 at my house. And then on the south side of that, here come the storms developing. Well, not storms, it looks like waves of energy coming off the Atlantic into South Carolina. And we are going to have a low pressure system forming, and it's going to be a hybrid low. Initially cold core, could go warm core, could get a name subtropical storm Karen, will be inching its way northward. And look at the little low pressure system over Lake Huron. There's an upper level low coming out of the Great Lakes. That's going to play a role. That's going to infuse some colder air and kind of fan the fire of this low as a new high pressure system is going to come in north of that. And we're going to really tighten up the pressure gradient as that low decays over western New York. It does leave upper level energy, which is going to help to lift that surface storm to the north as it deepens down to about 992 millibars or so with a 1032 millibar high pressure system over Maine. That's a new high, not this one, it's a new one, and that creates a gradient of about 40 millibar pressure gradient between Maine and New Jersey. And I think the wind here with the rain advancing on Sunday night, especially Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, we're going to have winds, it looks like sustained near 40 miles an hour, and there's still some very high tide going on, so there'll be some coastal erosion and big waves and lots of rain, and the low looks like it's going to weaken and kind of fall south a little bit there on Tuesday. The rain's trying to let up for a lot of New England, and it's still jury out on how far north that rain's going to get. Canadian border probably missed this storm. Meanwhile, a blizzard has just clipped northern Montana into Saskatchewan, so we have dual storms, one on the east coast, another one driving into Canada. That one driving into Canada would push warm air in our direction, as the Euro had a couple days ago, but instead, with the new Greenland block we talked so much about yesterday, it looks like we're going to have another low developing, and it's interesting how it evolves. There's Thursday with the 534 and the 540 over us, upper level low, and a new surface low east of Cape Cod, or it's the same old low, or it has redeveloped. But either way, it's going to try and bring more storminess to eastern parts of New England next Thursday into Friday. And then Saturday, we're kind of in between. And then a new upper level low is going to come in. Friday night. And then Saturday, a new upper level low is going to come in. And now this is as far as we go. Saturday at 8 p.m. And this is October 19th. Next Saturday, shows a 534 and the 540. That's an upper level low pressure system with blocking, and there could just as easily be a surface storm on the map at that time with cold enough for rain or snow. So this is pretty exciting how it's going to evolve next week from a subtropical storm to perhaps the first snowflakes in New England, although it doesn't really show much accumulation. I think we will get some snowflakes on our tallest mountains late next week, and there's another low weight out there to the west, but ridging in the middle of the nation and blocking developing. So Mother Nature has a tough time handling how these patterns change and what's going to happen next, because there's so many moving parts. You got to look at Greenland, you got to look at Africa, you got to look at the Pacific Ocean, and that's the end of this weather part. I got to look over toward the Atlantic Ocean. It is freezing out. My fingers are cold. I could have worn gloves. And so yesterday I made friends with a red-tailed hawk. At least that's the way it felt to me, because it was literally about 20 feet off the deck right here next to me while I was harvesting tomatoes and keeping an eye on my cats and making sure. Mitt was meowing so loud when I was making a time-lapse of the sunset. I think Mitt saw the bird and wanted to go in, whereas Steve really didn't care that much. So I don't know where T-Rex went. I got to find T-Rex. There's the Raptors up there. At first, I thought it was an eagle, and then because of the shape of the wing and how it was flying. But those are red-tailed hawks, so disregard anything I said about an eagle. TK and the red-tailed hawk, and more. Oh, and late-breaking news, our friend Sterling Sigurdsson in Jeffersonville, Vermont, has made us a little...
Does this count as the first snowman?
Not snowman, but frost man.
2026 winter season. I think we can count it, can't we? I'm counting it.
The reason I was just so silent, Sterling, one of those birds, it looked more like a peregrine falcon diving. I just saw that hawk come down to the ground at about 100 miles an hour over that side of the house. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. And there are peregrine falcons around here. I don't think I had one of those. But thank you for that Frosty, the frost man there in Jeffersonville. And I just can't look away from these birds. It's so fascinating. All right, here's yesterday. Yesterday's weather today. We call it and more. And more, 11 a.m. T-Rex, you didn't want to go out before when it was raining. Of course, now you want to go out. It's not raining. Yeah, no, dogs got to go out. The wind's clearly now from the northwest. Fascinating sky Air down near the ground coming from the north. Air way up in the sky still coming in from the west-southwest. Differential advection. I don't think we're done with the rain yet. Hello, Winthrop. Getting colder by the second now. T-Rex, come on. Rex, what are you doing? Come back. Good boy. We'll go later. Go for a walk. Sun should come out, shouldn't it? I don't know. Could be a long duration faux pas today. Noontime. Gorgeous. Still editing. Layered sky now. It looks like. Boy, I choose this passion, torture, whatever, and the front is right over us. It's 60 degrees. Temperature's holding steady. That's better. We brake for tankers. Looks like a snow sky above Boston, doesn't it? Well, the freezing level is coming down. Oh, I didn't check Mount Washington. It could be snowing on Mount Washington right now. And I forgot to mention it though, but for the win with the Tuesday night, just past full moon, Danny, nephew Danny, is a pilot for the tankers and the cargo ships in Fort Lauderdale. And this is the image he got from the bridge on Tuesday night of the just past waning harvest moon. Danny for the win with that one. Love our content providers. Carl Weller Jr. back in Somerville says, I guess I brought the bad weather back from Florida. You did, Carl. You had the best autumn weather ever in the history of Somerville while you were in Florida again. So inside the breezeway where the doors have been closed, the humidity is still up. Outside, the temperature's getting colder, so that's why we have the cooling causing condensation on the inside of that door. While outside, here comes the new air mass from Canada. The wind is let up a little bit, and we can see the clearing now across just north of Boston, but it's so unstable. Any moisture is going to cool and condense. Mount Washington is down to 32, but so far dry as of 12:30. So really dynamic change. Major upheaval in the weather pattern often comes with some surprises. So what's the next surprise? I don't know. It's going to be a surprise. But the sun should come out from underneath the cloud. That should be very interesting. Hello, Quincy Point. 2 p.m. catnap hour. Mount Washington down to 30 degrees, reporting freezing fog. So it's freezing up in the sky. It's also clearing just north of Boston. Still a few boats out on their moorings, and some probably calling it a season. Cold air advection, and the sun should be out soon. We'll be going back out and see the sun. Back edge of the cloud is just kind of stuck there over Boston. We'll still give it a little more time. Mitt just kicked Steve out of the food bowl, and T-Rex giving in on some kibble. Angela, it took a while, but he's eating some kibble, just a little. Got a hunter up here. It's pointed into the wind. Love how they hover like that. Hawk going down. I guess he didn't catch what he was going down for because he's right back up there. Blue jays on him. He's getting ready to dive again. Nope. Well, maybe 30 yards over my head. Do it again. There's so many environments down there. I don't know. Maybe he's looking at a little rabbit. That wouldn't be fun to see, would it? Nature is cruel. But I think they love this wind. They can sit stationary. There he goes. He's going down. Look at that. Oh, he went down the neighbor's yard. Came back up again. Where are you going? Oh. Come on. I can't keep up with a hawk. Can you believe it? I can't keep up with a hawk. Oh, Tim, you don't have any wings. There he goes down again. Oh, in that backyard. It's good hunting weather, huh? I get some regular gulls up there circling around. And that clearing line, really not making much progress. Look at all those birds, just stationary there. In the water and on the breakwater. Cormorants, I guess. Planes landing toward the east, even though the wind's from the north. We will see the sun. Not too many more days where I can see the sun from my yard without having to take a walk down the road. I'm thinking we should do this feature maybe where you all comment, and I should start answering some of the questions without trying to memorize them, but just kind of look into the camera and go through the questions in the Q&A. Anyone down with that? One of the reasons I like the format I use where I go outdoors and I point the camera at other things so it's not pointed at me, because all those years of being on TV and having to comb your hair and put on makeup and everything. But I'm going to try something here a little bit different. There's Mitt right down there. Can you see Mitt? I don't know. Can you see even me? Because I can't see me. Hopefully you can, and you can hear me. And I want to answer some questions that are in the comments section. Evan, the person that came up with the T-Rex triple hop, what do you predict for the winter? Tim, that's a tough one. I'm trying to brighten up my screen and hitting the wrong thing. What do I predict for the winter? A little rain isn't slowing T-Rex down. It did slow him down a lot. Steve wouldn't even come out. I'm predicting a very active winter, and I love the fact that these high-pressure systems are coming out of southeastern Canada, and the fronts are going south of New England with storms going along them. I think it's going to be more snowy in Boston and Providence and New York City than the last 5 winters, perhaps combined. And northern New England, it's tough to beat what happened last year. It was a really good year. Scott, love your enthusiasm, TK. Don't pass out. I know I was almost hyperventilating today when I saw the negative NAO, wasn't I? Fred, always here. Thank you, Fred. Longtime viewer. And way back to TV days. I too remember you, Fred. And why am I looking at that? The light? I don't know. Love when you get excited about the changing weather patterns. Love your enthusiasm. Well, thank you, Fred. Storm chasing MA. I know we met. I can't remember your first name. Heavy rain held off until closer to 9 a.m. on the North Shore. Ended around 11-ish. Just windy, and you can feel the cold coming. Yes, cold air advection. Winter is coming. Steve was like, yeah, no way. I'm leaving the house. I know, right? Ben, could you argue the Florida rains are the same principle as lake effect snow, just in different saltwater setting with high pushing dry winds over warm water? Well, it has to do with the temperature differential when it comes to lake effect, and I think down in Florida what's happened is the fronts have been stalling there. Whenever you have a front, you have surface convergence and that strong northeasterly wind. Maybe the cooler air over the water played a role, but I think it had more to do with just waves on the old front and tropical energy coming at Florida from the south, and then the polar energy, so to speak, for this time of year coming at it from the north. I think Florida was actually colder and wetter than New England the last several days. Is that right, Carl Weller Jr.? Arrow Chick, where do you live? Do you live in California? What a sunset with the sun dog and the birds. Wow, thanks. Kate, always here, and Kate, New England. Nice little excursion to Newport. I'm glad T-Rex got to go. The weather was perfect. Thank you, Kate, for watching every day. Rick, Sutton Mills, New Hampshire, 0.86 reported to Coco Roz. Looks like 0.95 total for the event. Rick, good job, because I had some other people reporting from southeastern New Hampshire. The wave kind of jumped over, and we didn't get as much rain in southeastern New Hampshire. Rain, Tom Greco, here every day. Is that how you say your name? Rain started at 4 a.m., stopped about 11 a.m., got 0.21, right, in Rochester, so less in southeastern New Hampshire. And the sun and clouds at 2:30, temperature 62, dew point 53, wind north-northeast at 2. Wow, where's the wind? Keith, as warm as it has been, I'd say go back to Columbus Day weekend 1987. Could be off a year or two. Temps that weekend were nearly 90 degrees. Yes, anything can happen, especially in October. I think last year at this time, the front that came through was just about to bring snow. Last year they were skiing on October 14th. What's this? Volun told me the city gets a per passenger tax on every cruise ship. Regarding the Newport cruise ships this weekend, there's an enterprise fund, but that fund receives the proceeds. Thank you. I love the intel. Ray Alba, first, and yes, full moon last night. On August 37th, because it just feels like August keeps on going. And it feels like it was so warm, caught waves, and body surfed Sunday. Where? Long Island Sound? Let's see. Jim Raymond, every day there. Enjoy your adventure. Safe travels, Mr. Kelly. Bruce Ross, hey, nice scenery. Travels around New England. Do you ascribe to the theory of 6-week weather phases? I'd like
to say that following the stormy June weather, we've settled down into a warmer and drier phase into mid-July. First 6-week cycle would have ended around Labor Day, and the second phase would end around October 15th. I think the waves come in all phases, Bruce, and it was wet and cold just about every weekend from January to August, and then we had dry weekends on Cape Cod that's been going through July, August, September. No rain on Cape Cod for 3 months worth of Saturdays in a row. And now, yes, the pattern is changing again, but I believe in weekly patterns, I believe in monthly patterns, and even yearly patterns. Lloyd, not long left the Cape. Love checking out your T-Rex videos and giving me the Cape forecast before I arrived in September, and now back in Northern Ireland. All right. Lloyd, thanks for watching. And so that's been how many minutes? I don't even know. Thank you all for commenting, and I'll try and do this more often. And now I got to figure out how to close my quick time. And I hope I was looking at the camera for some of that time. And how long was that? 5 minutes, 35 seconds. That's where I was just sitting. Hopefully that worked out. Well, actually, it was a few minutes ago. And now let's go see if we can't get the sun to come out from underneath the cloud. Close this day out, T-Rex. Steve should be here any second. It's not raining. Does that mean you're going to go out the door, Steve? T-Rex, about to triple hop at almost 5:30 p.m. I want to get out and get a little look at this work vessel here. Handsome. And the sun is going to come out beneath the cloud here at the end of the day. And I did check the rain gauge. It was about a 0.6-inch rainfall, so most of that fell before we were done taping this morning. So let me get the tripod, set it up. There's Steve. Mitt may make an appearance. He was sitting right next to me when I did that Q&A. Hopefully that worked out all right. T-Rex on the hunt for the baby bunny. All right, this should be pretty good. I think it's gonna be pretty good. What do you think? Last time I checked, it was not snowing yet on Mount Washington, but there's another push. These cold fronts often come in with surges and pulses. So it pulsed in, the temperature got down to 29. I think when we wake up, was it around 18 this morning or so with an icy observation deck? I think it probably was. Colors of fall. Mitt on Mitt's patio, right next to the cat Mint, and the stuff that's already aged is a little more flavorful, isn't it, Mitt? Yeah. Can make you sneeze though. That's Steve next to Steve's rock. But the color, as the sun goes down, the fall color may not get much better than this, so that's why I want to grab it right now. I don't think we're going to have better looking Montauk's than this. Come on. Little cloud just came between the sun. So I let the tomatoes grow up into the burning bush. I don't know if you've been here long, the story of the burning bush. It spent most of the winter on the ground, outside of the ground. And it doesn't look too healthy, does it? But I let the tomatoes grow right up into it. And look how colorful they are. And I know the Topsfield Fair is going on. Somebody set a record for the biggest pumpkin ever grown. I've never done that. That's a lot of work. And this is kind of a lot of work. Remember where I put up those 8-foot poles? And the sunflower that just grew by itself. A couple more flowers, so I have sunflower seeds for next year. And this was the tiniest little tomato plant that I did not think would survive. It did. It's flourishing. Look at all the cherry tomatoes. More than I can really pick, really get out of the sun. Look at them all in there. And now that they got a drink of water, there's the 0.61. They're gonna crack a little bit as they swell because they love drinking the water. And then this is where I had the tripod set, and I'm gonna set it back down and continue this. So I think I'm done speaking for the day, and we'll lay in the time lapse from Weymouth and from Dennis in here somehow. I think there was more rain in Dennis than there was in Weymouth. And sorry about you people in southeastern New Hampshire that missed the rain today. Oh boy, it was a tough transition with the northern stream and the southern stream merging and the pulsing, and some of you in southeastern New Hampshire missed it. All right, so here's the varying time lapses. I think I'll just stick Weymouth and Dennis in there right now, get that done with, and then we'll let the sun hit the horizon. Piano music and time lapse to close this out.
bird. We both get the bird hovering. Almost looks like an eagle, doesn't it? I mean, it's literally like 25 feet away. And the sun reflecting off the clouds in the east. Do it. Go down there. That's a red tail, right? It's not an eagle, is it? Let me get a little closer. I don't think it cares about me at all. More and more and more. I want to get a picture of it. I'll have to just freeze frame. Go ahead, go down there. Wow, it has the wing shape of an eagle. Some people down there watching too. Why not? All right. It's farther away now. Meanwhile, this is happening over here. More and more and more. It was just making really loud noises to go in. And I was busy harvesting tomatoes. Because why not? Look at them all. More tomatoes than I can possibly ever consume. More content than I can possibly ever consume. The sun is gone. I'm so challenged on which way to look. It certainly does fly like an eagle. See ya. Oh, just dive bomb down to something in your yard, Jerry. All right, that's it. Somebody stop me. Talk to you tomorrow.